Well, check it out. We are here and we are live. And I do a lot of live trainings, but this whole experience with being live on YouTube is pretty fun. So it's awesome. So hey, welcome to my live training here today. And how cool is this going to be able to talk to you and share with you? Really, this is not a pre-recorded thing. This is me really here, right here at my computer talking to you. And I know you've been watching a lot of the videos here on my channel and seeing all the different things that I talk about. I'm just real thrilled to be here with you, to talk to you, because I get what's going on in the world. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but behind the scenes, there's some really cool, miraculous things happening. People are really opening up, and their gifts and talents and skills are coming to the surface because it's time to help each other out, work with each other, and help each other through the difficulties we face, right? So I know that for me, as I have progressed and figured me out along the way, I've found that I have empath abilities and empath skills. And I'm going to talk to you, those of you who have really strong people skills that you can really make a difference in other people's lives, and you are wanting to be an entrepreneur. Today's training, today's share that I'm going to do with you is going to be super insightful. I mean, this is going to be fantastic because I'm going to help you understand yourself better so that you can do better. Because when you think you're weird and twisted and feel like you got something wrong with you, you're not really going to get out there in the world and go help and others and serve people. And this is what I do best is I'll help you understand yourself better so that you can perform better. So I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with some buttons and controls here. So if I mess up, hang in there with me as I share with you. So I've packed this training here this morning with a lot of insight. So of course you're going to take some notes, or maybe you're driving, so don't take notes, but listen closely as I show you and help you understand a very cool specialty or gift that you have of understanding other people. A couple years ago, when I was teaching a live event, there's about 1,000 people in the event. I've done about 6,000 presentations. I mean, oh man, I've done a lot of presentations, and I really enjoy being around people and helping people. But I realized that I was being more in tune with people than the common person. And a student in the audience, right? A student in the audience, they called out and says, "Hey, I think you're an empath." And I was like, "What? What's that? That's weird. I don't know what an empath is." And they're like, "Yeah, I think you're an empath." And it's like, what is that? And they say, "Well, you're a person who can perceive or understand people on a deep level on the inside of people." And never in a million years have I ever thought that I would have those kind of abilities. But I guess what happens is when you really care about people and you want to serve people, what happens is your internal gifts get better and better and stronger. And you start to understand people at a deeper level. And that means you can help people at a deeper level. That means you can serve people at a deeper level. That means we can solve deeper issues and be able to change lives, because really changing your life is like changing an internal habit and making it making it perform better. So the student called me out and says I was an empath. So I had to jump on the internet and go, what is an empath? And as I started looking at it, I was like, whoa, wait a second, maybe I am. And so I started to realize that I had developed the gift of having empath abilities. You don't have to be just born with it. You can also acquire it. But here's the thing, if you don't understand how it works, you don't understand how it works. And so it can actually be, you can actually feel like a weirdo in a group of people because you think differently, you sense things differently, and empaths actually make really good life coaches, really good mentors, really good teachers, presenters, keynote speakers, because they're so in tune to the people. But entrepreneurs who are empaths, they kind of don't know how to use this gift to the best of their ability. And so they kind of hold back, and they could be really successful. And so I really enjoy helping empaths who want to be an entrepreneur, start their own business, create their own career to be successful. But there are some things about your empath ability that you need to be aware of, or you're going to struggle a lot. And I noticed that empaths struggle and they don't know why. And so over the last 6-7 years, as I've been teaching empaths how to be able to do better, it's been so cool to watch them change some very specific parts about them and how they're using their gift, and they become more successful. So my whole goal here today is to be able to help you, give you some insight of what to look at and how to adjust this so that you can perform better. So I'm going to walk you through some insight here to be able to help you with this. So right off, I just want to touch on the fact that common people, this is what happens. Common people listen to each other's words to be able to get information. They really rely on what a person says. That's the common person in the world, that they listen to what people say, and then some kind of listen to the tone to understand that information. But the cool part is that empaths, they have a higher sensibility and they can pick up on the information inside of a person without them even talking. I know that sounds weird, like what? It's kind of some kind of sci-fi show, but it's not. It's a real gift to be able to tune in or listen in to a person and they're not even talking, and you can perceive or understand them at such a deep level, and the person hasn't even said a word yet. So empaths have an edge or an extra ability to understand people. That's why empaths are great problem solvers, because others don't really expose or share all the things that are going on in their life. And so they kind of hold back, but empaths can see through that and help people at a deeper level because they can hear things that are not being said that really need to be brought to the conversation. So empaths get a deeper understanding about people if they know how to use their gift. Now, Kirk, what do you mean that they're listening to the information? Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but every person gives off information every single second of every single day. A lot of people think that the thoughts that you have stay inside your head. That's what people think. It's not true. The thoughts you have don't just stay in your head. The feelings you have don't just stay inside your body. The feelings you have and the thoughts you have come out of your body. Your skin is not a hardened container that contains thoughts, and it doesn't contain your emotions. Your body gives off a signal every second of every day about what you're thinking and what you're feeling. And this vibe that comes from you is loaded with information. Now, if you don't believe me, and you're like, oh, that's not possible, Kirk, that's just not possible, then how does a cell phone work? A cell phone, there's no wires attached to this, right? There's no wires, but I can send information through the air. It can go through the air, through walls, across cities. I can text somebody on the other side of the world and they'll get a message from me. So information is sent through the air already, and that is technology. There's cell phone towers and information goes bouncing all over the place. And so to say that you can't have information travel through the air is like, what planet did you grow up on? But the problem is people don't realize that this applies to us as people, not just cell phones, not just Wi-Fi, but the same principle applies to us as people, that people give off information all day long. They literally are broadcasting information all day long. But the common person, common people don't tune into it. They don't. They only rely on what a person says, the words and tone. So they don't tune into this information. But I'm gonna tell you this though, more and more people are opening up their empathic gifts to be able to tune into this information. because people want to be safe. They want to protect themselves from people that might be mean and hurtful out there. And so people are opening up their empathic abilities more and more and more. So we have more and more empaths coming to the surface, which is a cool gift to have. It just means you're at a higher level of sensibility. And so an empath is somebody who tunes into the information that is already being broadcasted. An empath does not dig into somebody and pry into somebody. That's not how it works. No, an empath just listens to the information that's being broadcasted. Because the first time I heard about the word empath, somebody says, oh yeah, I don't like empaths because empaths invade your private part of your life. And it's like, no, actually that's not how it works. No, you give off information. You give off information. You freely give it and you can't stop it. That's the weird place, is that every human being cannot stop from giving off information. And so an empath, you as the empath, you are tuning in to the information from others. That's what's happening, which I think is a cool thing as a parent. I'm a dad, I've got kids, and I love the fact that I can tune into my kids even when they're not telling me the whole story. And I'm also married, right? So it's like I can tune into my wife, even though she might not be talking. I can tune in and see how she is, how she's doing. And so you have the ability to increase your sensibility so that you can tune into people and understand their intentions, which I think is a safety factor. Understand their intentions before the person takes any action. Now, to me, that's super cool because then you have an edge or a head start to the intentions of the other person. And so you can tune yourself more into people. And if somebody ever says to you, oh, Kirk Duncan's talking about empaths, that's just so out there, so woo-woo. No, it's actually science. It's actually science that people give off a vibration, that information can travel through the air. It's just like a cell phone, but people don't say cell phones are woo-woo. People don't say, oh, you have a cell phone? Oh, that's so woo-woo. They don't say that. No, they don't say that. They think it's just normal to have Wi-Fi. So why can't a person also be tapped into Wi-Fi of others? Oh, the reason why is because people don't think about it. They just call people, they listen to their words. They don't really work on advancing their skills in tuning into people. So I think this is fascinating and so cool. And I think every person ought to work on increasing their sensibility. Because if you don't, you're missing out on getting the information so that you're clear about what's going on. You want to know where miscommunication comes from? It comes from the fact that people don't listen. They're not listening. You want to know why spouses argue and fight all the time? It's because they're out of tune with each other. That's why they fight, and that's why they argue, is because they're out of tune. They're not tuned into each other. One's on one channel, the other one's on another channel, and they're just out of tune. So we could lower and decrease the arguments in marriages if those two would practice being more in tune with each other, which means they would increase their empathic abilities, have empathy, and be more in tune with each other. Makes sense. Now let's talk about mom and dad, the parents. If they have a child that's really difficult to deal with, it's because they're out of tune with that child. If that parent could tune into that child better, they would understand their child better. I encourage every mom and every dad, every grandpa and grandma, every aunt and uncle to raise their sensibility. You know, I have people who will say, oh, you empaths are weird. And I say back to them, oh, you common people are so far behind. You are so far behind in the human technology. The human technology of being able to be in tune. People who mock empaths are so far behind. They're so caveman-ish about how they communicate. They're not using their mind to be able to communicate with people and be able to be more in tune. That's why we have so many problems inside the family unit and inside organizations, is because people are out of tune. And so when people say, well, how do you get in tune? Well, it's like, well, I could teach you how to be in tune so you could be better at communication, but you're going to get called an empath because people are going to go, oh, you seem like you're an empath. You're like super in tune. It's like, no, it's called sensibility. Sensibility. So if you're an empath and somebody goes to mock you or tease you or say that you're woo-woo, then you can gently, politely say back to them, oh, you're still at level 1.0? You're at human 1.0? Well, I'm at human 3.0. When are you going to update? I know that could come across a little wrong, but I think those thoughts, it's like, you have no idea what you're missing. No idea. And so my sensibility is super important to me, because if I'm out of tune, there's going to be problems. And when there's problems, there's going to be costs. And I don't like losing. I don't like having costs. I don't like having problems that I don't have to have. But I would have to say right now, the majority of your problems are because you are out of tune. Because you're out of tune, not because somebody else is out of tune. Those who are in tune with people can avoid problems because you can sense ahead what's about ready to happen. I mean, talk about live a better life, because you can sense ahead what's about ready to happen. Even if you only had a couple seconds ahead where you were given a heads up a couple seconds ahead of time is something that's going to happen, it helps you respond better to what's about ready to happen. But if you're out of tune, you are totally reacting to things, reacting over and over and over again, and you're going to burn out. You're going to have massive issues. But I'm telling you right now, I mean, seriously, you and whoever your friend is, you want to encourage your friend to raise their sense ability. Now, I know I'm here to talk about entrepreneurs and about empaths being entrepreneurs, but I just want to just lay the groundwork here about what an empath actually can do. Because if we look at this and we go, whoa, if you could tune into people and understand them better than they understand themselves, then you could help them. You could help them. You could help them solve their problems. You could help them get their life back online. You could help them make progress. You could really make a big difference in this person's life. And that's why empaths make such great life coaches, teachers, presenters, keynote presenters, authors, bloggers, YouTubers, because they're so in tune with people, so in tune. And so, it's the rise of the empaths because it's going to happen. People are starting to wake up and start to go, you know what? This is good. This is not weird. This is good. So an empath, this is what's cool about an empath, is an empath tunes into words. They turn into the thoughts. They tune into the tone. They tune into the energy of the person. They are natural at reading body language, because body language is a communication. It's another language. It's like sign language. Body language is sign language. Natural sign language. It's really cool how body language is sign language, and empaths can read that. They can interpret that. And empaths also tune into the behavior of a person. So empaths are not limited by just listening to what people say. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other ways of listening to this person. So empaths are more accurate than the common person. because the common person only tunes into the words, maybe a little bit of the tone, maybe a little bit of the body language, but most likely not. So empaths are more accurate in their interpretation of people as long as they are a healthy empath. Because there also are unhealthy empaths. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. So that's what's so cool about, being an empath is you're just so much more tuned in. You're so much more on top of things. But let's talk about this just for a second, is that the fact that if you had 10 people in a room, there's maybe one of them is an empath. So empaths feel a little outnumbered because you could be in a group of people and they're all talking a particular way about a particular situation. And then as an empath, you go to open up your mouth, you're going to sound like the weirdo in the room because you have such a different angle on the topic that's being talked about. And the other 9 people are going to look at you like you stand out. And see, this is one of the problems with empaths, is that they feel like they are at the bottom of the list. When empaths, if an empath is confident, you can really open the minds of everybody in that group. You can open their minds and help them see more clearly what's going on. But the problem is most empaths feel like they're insignificant and they're alone and they're the weirdo and they're woo-woo, and it's just like they're not like everybody else. But if I could help you as an empath, I would want to help you to be able to be more bold and confident in the groups of people that you hang out with, so that you could help open the minds of those who are less in tune. You see, we are out of 10 people, we're the 1 out of 10, but we are a really big influence on those other 9 because they can't see what we see. They can't sense what we sense. They can't see it. They can't sense it. And so this is where we get to speak up and say, hey, here's some other insight we need to look at and be able to pay attention to so that you can change the minds of the people that you're around and not let them change you. You change them. And this is starting to happen more and more as empaths become more confident and as we start to speak up about our opinion about things. And so, yeah, your opinion is going to be different. It's not going to be like everybody else's because you are the 1 out of 10, which is a good thing because it tells you you are more advanced and you're more ahead of things. But that means you need to take on a leadership position, meaning lead the conversation, not feel like you're the minority and just going, nobody else agrees with me, so I should just shut up. No, it's like, wait, nobody else agrees with me. I need to speak up and be able to stand strong and be bold about the way that you see things. And that's what's cool about being an empath. Now, an entrepreneur who's an empath has a great opportunity to serve people, a lot of people. But here's what happens. A good, healthy empath is open to connect with people, open to connect, open to, engage, be able to create a relationship, become super in tune. Empaths who are entrepreneurs are great at perceiving the service, the help that their clients need. And so entrepreneur empaths can deliver fantastic experiences for their clients, which means they have the potential to be very successful in the business that they choose to do. So this is a healthy empath. It's the ideal experience. But here's the thing that happens, though. I find that 9 out of 10 empaths have blocked people. They have walls up. They have the stop signs. They have the close signs up. And the information from other people doesn't quite get to them because of what the empath has in their background. I find that most empaths don't realize that their sensibility has created or holding on to levels of regret, anger, and hurt. Those 3 will cause on the front end to cause walls and the stop signs and the blocks. And so they can't tune into people. They could, but they can't. And so this entrepreneur who's an empath struggles. They just struggle. They just can't make it work. They can't add the next client. They can't perceive how to take care of them. But the potential is there. That's the cool part, is the potential really is there. That empath just needs help cleaning up the hurt, the anger, the regret. And that empath needs help with some repair in their heart and in their mind. They need some repair. And so that they can start to mend or heal from past experiences. You see, what comes along with a high level of sensibility is that you are sensitive. And empaths that are sensitive can get hurt easily. And so empaths tend to have pain and hurt and anger in their past, but they don't realize that it puts blocks out in front of them, which makes it difficult to tune into other people. And so that's where my specialty comes in. I like to help empaths be able to repair and heal from their past so that they can open back up and be connected to people and do their best work. To me, empaths are designed to be successful in whatever they choose to do, because empaths have such an edge. Because we're so in tune with people, and the business you're in is about people, which means you could take really good care of them, which means you could do amazing things. The natural ability of being an empath brings relief to others. It helps them change their lives. And that natural talent of being an empath can seriously provide for your financial needs. Anytime I meet an empath, I tell them, you've got to become a life coach. I tell every one of them, like, you've got to become a life coach. Like, it's so cool to be able to serve people. And they're like, what? I don't know how to do that. And it's like, it's all right. I can help you. But then they give me this list. This is what they say. They say, well, I struggle with money. I struggle with this. I struggle with sales. I struggle with organization. I struggle with all the problems in the world. I'm super critical of myself. And this is like the same list I hear. And it's like, I hear it from one empath to the next empath. And it's like, oh, this is an empath who doesn't know how to heal, doesn't know how to mend. They don't know how to get themselves organized. And unfortunately, this is where a lot of the empaths are at, is they have these struggles. But it's because they don't know how to use their gift. And they don't know how to clean up their past so they can be more in the present, so they can do good work. I hope I'm making sense. Is this making sense? Because I want to show you some things here today about what you can do to be able to make these adjustments. And if you're still discovering if you're an empath or not, just hang in there. I'm going to show you some things that I hope will help you. Let me jump into that right now. Okay, so myths. Empaths are out of touch with reality. They are woo-woo. The truth is, empaths go beyond the surface and find the deep roots of truth. Another myth is empaths are few and far between. More and more are tuning into their empath abilities for safety, success, and protection. So you probably are going to notice friends or family or coworkers who are going to start to say, well, I'm starting to wonder if I'm an empath. And if they say that, say, yeah, you are. Yeah, you got to study this. You got to get into this. Get some training. Get training on how to use your empath abilities. Because it didn't come with a manual. It didn't come with a manual. You got to learn. Okay, empaths are just overly sensitive people. Empaths are super connected to their surroundings. And while they are sensitive, they are sensing, reading, analyzing, interpreting all the messages, emotions, behaviors about you and others. Yeah, they are sensitive, but they are deep processors. It doesn't mean that they're weak. It means that their gifts and talents are so high. They have so much incoming information. It's so cool about learning how to use your empath abilities, especially as an entrepreneur. Now, if you are still wondering, am I an empath? Okay, can you sense what others are feeling? Can you see how to solve other people's problems? Can sense how a person's past is affecting their potential? Do you notice yourself being curious, or at least, paying attention to people's body language? Also, can you understand people quickly and accurately. Also, another way you know if you're an empath is if you feel overwhelmed being around people or electronics too much, because empaths are super sensitive. And if they're around electronics, big lights, lots of electricity, or around groups of people for a long time, they can feel overwhelmed. And that's usually how a person finds out that they're an empath, because they reach that overwhelmed stage so quickly. But really, this is what an empath looks like. Common everyday people. We're not weirdos. we don't have antennas coming out of the top of our head. And no, we don't glow in the dark either. We don't. But, the term empath comes from empathy, which is the ability to understand the experiences and feelings of others outside of our own perspective. So here's another thing. Empaths are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. They feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They do take on negative energy such as anger or anxiety, which can be exhausting to an empath. If they are around peace and love, though, their bodies take on and flourish. Is it rare to be an empath? It's a rare gift, but empaths, they sense the feelings of others as their own, which makes them great listeners and trouble solvers. Oh, if you can solve people's troubles, you have financial security for the rest of your life. That's why I encourage empaths to be entrepreneurs. They could have financial security for the rest of their life. Just like a mechanic can fix a car, there's always going to be broken down cars. So the mechanic who does a good job is going to do well. A home repair person, there's always going to be homes that need repairs. So that home repair person has job security. The mechanic has job security. An empath works with people to solve problems. People have problems. An empath who chooses to help people solve problems has financial security. Seriously, job security. Empaths have one rare trait that makes them even more powerful. These people are experts in human psychology. Experts. And you didn't even really study it that much. Maybe you didn't even read a book, but you are so in tune with people that you understand people. And the rest of the people out there are going to wonder, what classes did you take to learn how to do this? And you're going to tell them it's a gift to be able to do this. And they're like, what? That doesn't make sense. Because people don't really think about specialty gifts or talents. They think, oh, if you can throw a baseball really good, that's a gift. But if you can understand people, they think that's weird. It's like, no, it's a people gift. It's as cool as a physical fitness gift or a sport gift or playing the piano or being an architect. An empath is as cool as being gifted at being an architect or any sports experience. It's just a different category. And so when I started honoring my gift, it started to improve. But if I discredited my gift and I thought it was weird, it would decrease, it would fall apart, it wouldn't work. But when I started realizing the power that this has to help other people, man, I started honoring it. And the more you honor it, the more it works. So you can help other people. So every time I meet an empath, I say to them, you really ought to become some kind of life coach. Some kind of life coach. And then they say, well, how do you do that? And I say, well, I can teach you. Because this is what I did, as I turned myself into a life coach. And I love it. So you solve problems. And maybe you've taken your empath gift and you kind of put it in a box and you shoved it way down and you're hiding it. And I understand that. You know, when you're 1 out of 10, it does make you feel weird. It does make you feel like you're out of place. Your sensitivity makes you feel like something's wrong with you. You know, I totally get that. But you really do have the power and the insight. So to solve people's problems. To solve people's problems is a highly sought after service because people have problems. Now, as an empath, though, here's a couple of things that you need to pay attention to. Anger will mess you up. Anger totally turns your empath gift into just mush. It just messes it up. It confuses it. It doesn't work accurately. And it really taints the whole situation. And so if you by chance have some situations in your past that you're still upset about, it's messing up your empath abilities. And that's one thing I do is when I talk to an empath and I'm training them how to use their gift to serve people, and I ask the question, okay, what do you have in your past that you're still upset about? What are you angry about? What bothers you about the past? And I ask them, hey, what is back there? And at first they're like, well, there's not much. And I'm like, now, if your gift isn't working well, you're still upset at somebody. And then as we look around in their past, we start to find all these different scenarios where they're mad at somebody, they're angry at somebody, or they're hurt. And then they ask me, hey, do you think this is affecting my empath ability? And I said, yeah, this is the biggest culprit. This is the biggest sore spot. An empath is about helping. But if you're angry, it messes it up. And so I like to help people clean up their past where they're angry so that their gift can open up. It's a very important step. So if you have, if you're like, well, I think I'm an empath, but it doesn't really make sense. You most likely have stories in your past that you're still bothered about. You're still hurt about. And that's normal. It doesn't make you a bad person. Empaths feel very deeply. Whatever they do, they feel very deeply about that. Now, this is another thing that happens to empaths is that you could become a toxic empath. What? I know this is crazy, right? Toxic empathy is when a person over-identifies with someone else's feelings and directly takes them on as their own. This may leave you feeling drained and make you feel like you have no time left to take care of your own problems. Toxic empathy is when you don't just mirror other people's feelings, you absorb them. So these two problems right here, anger, this is one of them, is anger in your past, and then also toxic empathy or being a toxic empath. And usually that's where I find empaths is that they're struggling because of anger or they also have gotten themselves into a toxic situation where they are over-identifying. And so they're constantly overwhelmed. They're constantly burnt out. And as an entrepreneur, that ruins business. No wonder empaths who are trying to be an entrepreneur, they struggle when they start their business. Because if they've got toxic empathy and they've got a past with some things that they're angry, upset about, they can't really use their gift to serve people, but they can feel the potential. And they know they can, but they're watching themselves as they can't. That's super frustrating. Super frustrating. And so you want to look in your past for those moments that you're still upset about. You want to look for those. You want to make a list of who you're angry at or what are you still upset about from your past. And you got to start going through that systematically and forgiving them and forgiving yourself to start to clean up your past. And if you want help, I could help you with that. I could, because this is my specialty. Is I'm an empath and I can help you find those places that you're still bugged and irritated about so we can clean that up so you could do better as an empath. You could do great as an empath if you could clean up your past. And then the other one is to be able to practice noticing when you're over identifying. Now, this is just an unconscious piece that happens. Another term that people call this is they call it like a savior mentality. Like they're just going to go around and save everybody. Some empaths think, I need to soak up all this person's pain so that they can feel better. That doesn't work. That ruins you. It causes you physical issues. It causes you to feel strained on the inside. It causes you ailments when you take on other people's pains. I'm sorry, you're not God. You can't do that and survive. You're not. You're human. You are not immortal. Okay, so you can't do that. But if you're probably unconsciously doing this because you don't know how to coach the person, you try to suck up and soak off all their pain, and then it gets stuck in your body, and then that makes you grumpy. You're miserable. But you think you're helping, but you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. And I bet you I could find where you're being in that toxic realm. No, I don't take on people's pain. I coach them through their pain. You see, empaths that don't know how to coach, they try to save people by soaking up their pain. That's why I encourage empaths who have an entrepreneurial spirit. And it's like, hey, you should become a life coach because you could coach people through their problems so you don't have to take them on. Because I did the same thing. When I first started, I was a toxic empath. I would soak up people's pain and they'd feel better. And I was like, oh, wow, I could do this forever. Until I started suffering from it. And it took me a while to figure out, no, I need to teach this person how to solve their own issues and how to get through their painful moments. That's why I think every empath needs to learn about being a coach. And it will help you save yourself from hurting yourself by taking on other people's emotions, other people's issues. Man, I hope that makes sense. So it being an empath is a very, very cool gift, but you have to learn about it so you don't misuse it. And I'm going to say it, hurt yourself. I know it sounds crazy, like what? No, it's a good gift. I know it's a good gift, but it's a very powerful gift because you're working with people, sensing and feeling what they're going through. But if you take on that negative energy from other people, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you take on that energy from other people, you feel good in the moment, like, oh, I just helped this person. But then you're miserable the rest of the day. And then you have a gut ache, and then your neck hurts, and you got your shoulder blade. You got knots in your shoulder blades, and your lower back hurts, and your ankle and your knee start to go out on you. And that's because you took on other people's stuff. And your body can't handle it. I don't care how immortal you think you are. You can't handle that. You need to coach people through their stuff, not take on their stuff, right? So empaths are capable of making a significant impact in others' lives through service, solving problems, and creating success. But this is like a little bit of a summary of what we talked about. But empaths tend to deny their gift. Empaths become perfectionists. And empaths tend to feel messy. And they tend to hide their gift and try to fit in with society. But then that leads to depression and racked with confusion. When I meet a depressed empath, I know that they're toxic. I know that they've got anger. And I also know that they're not using their gift, they're hiding their gift. So if you have a spouse who tends to be down on themselves a lot, if you have a spouse that tends to be down on themselves, there's a really good chance they have empath abilities and they're soaking up everybody's pains. They're in toxic empathy and they're hiding their gift and it's completely crushing them. and you can't figure out what's wrong with your spouse. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. I mean, I lost count a long time ago. How many people who say, oh, my spouse, they're like this and this. And I say, well, do they do this and this and this and this? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know that? I said, oh, they're an empath who's struggling. And they're like, what? And they're like, it just blows their mind. Like, well, this doesn't even make sense. And I go, really? Let me talk to them. I talk to them and I go, hey, do you think this? Do you do this? Do you feel this? And like, yeah, how'd you know that? I go, because that's where I used to be. I used to be in that toxic, soaking up people's pains, trying to save people, didn't speak out, didn't use my gift intentionally. I hid my gift, and that'll lead to misery, all of that. So if you, I know I was talking about your spouse, if you have a spouse, but if it's you, and you're like, you just feel like your life is kind of blah. You feel like, oh, my life is just blah. I don't know what's wrong with me. There's a really good chance you've pushed your gift down, because any gift that God gives us that we push down and hide, it will lead to misery. It totally will. Okay, let me keep going here and show you some more. Okay, so, but wait. What do you do about that? Well, you recognize that you have a gift. And you go, okay, well, I must have a gift. And it must be a gift to be able to help people. And so what you do is you start looking for opportunities to help people, and your gift will start to come to the surface. But you got to want to help people, but don't take on their pain, right? Coach them through what they're going through. Help them get through that wall or out of that pit or out from underneath that rock. Help them, give them advice, give them whatever advice you have. And if you ever want to improve those skills of coaching, then come back and see me. Come back and see me, because I could train you on what else you could teach them and coach them on. But give them some advice, because as soon as you start helping others, you start to pull yourself out of the pit of misery. Oh, you got to get yourself out of there. Okay, this next one's super important. Okay, really important as we talk about this. Whoa, where's my button? Okay, watch this. Okay, so, hold on. There we go. Okay, so here's something as an empath you need to know about. Here in the middle, this is your personal space, this circle right here. And you have 100% maximum capacity. And inside you have information. Now, as an entrepreneur, what happens is you take on a client. Now, this client starts to share with you their information. So, a new empath who doesn't understand how to manage themselves will take on this information about this new client. See, the client information takes this on. And now this requires about 25% of this empath's mind capacity or energy capacity. So you start to put 25% of your energy out to this person because you got a client, right? In whatever business that you have. And then here comes client number 2. They share their information. And what happens? Well, you start to give them some of your energy and time. And then here comes the next client. And you can see what's happening here. Here comes the next client. And then, you give them time and energy and you take on their information. So what happened? You just gave away all your energy. 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. So what just happened? You are depleted. This is where empaths as entrepreneurs, they really get stuck as entrepreneurs, is because at the very beginning, they give their energy to the person. And the empath takes on the information that the person's giving them. Like they take it on. So now this empath is smothered in other people's information and almost down to zero, which in this mathematical experience, it's down to zero of energy. So now this empath who's an entrepreneur is completely exhausted and overwhelmed with other people's information, and they only have 4 clients. I watch an entrepreneur empaths do this all the time. They take on a couple clients, and it feels like the end of the world to them. They're completely exhausted and they're completely overwhelmed. So if you're an empath and you know what I'm talking about, make a comment in the chat and just give me a heads up. If you get what I'm talking about, if you've ever experienced this before, overwhelmed and exhausted. This is an empath who does not know how to manage their personal space and how to manage the incoming information, and doesn't know how to manage their energy levels and how much energy they give people. They don't manage it. They don't manage it. And so this is an unhealthy empath because they're overwhelmed, they're completely exhausted, and they can't see how they could add one more client. They're like, how am I supposed to add one more client? Like, this is difficult. This will never happen. So they try to add a client and the client leaves. And now they've plateaued as a business owner and they just barely started. They barely started and they can't even add a fifth client. It's because this empath doesn't know how to do this. They don't know how to manage this. So let me give you an example. So let me just go back to this. Well, let me see. Yeah, I'll use this one. So what if, and let me give you some insight here. Information, and a new empath is going to take on information from their client. They're going to take it on. What I suggest is to the empath, keep your energy and hold their information on the edge of your space. Keep your energy and hold their information on the edge. Keep your energy, hold the information on the edge. Same here. Keep your energy, hold the information on the edge. So what happens here is the people you work with, their information, everything that's coming to you as an empath needs to be put into a library around you. And I love teaching empaths how to create this library that along the edge of your personal space is where you store the information that's coming to you from people constantly, every day, all day long, but you decide that this information gets held on the edge of your personal space so that you can keep all of your energy and not give your energy away, and that your personal space is open and clear. Open. So that you could add a new client if you wanted to, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20. But if you don't decide that the information that's coming from people, if you don't decide that it stays on the edge, it will automatically come in and get inside you, which will stack up inside you. And when it stacks up, it's going to mess you up. So you see this image? This is the image you want to take a picture of right now. Get a screenshot, take a picture, and you tell your brain, store the information on the edge of my space. Don't bring it in until I want it. You see, an empath's mind takes the information and automatically takes it all the way in. But it will mess up your information. It'll mess you up and you will feel messy. You will feel messy. So you have to tell your brain how to function. Just like you told your brain how to tie a shoe. You told your brain how to ride a bike. You told your brain how to drive a car. You've been telling your brain all along how to do things. This is just like tying a shoe. As you tell your brain, hold the information on the edge of my space so that it does not clutter my space. So that it does not take my energy from me. This is called the library technique. And so what that means is you could work with a lot more people. A lot more people if you will take on the library mindset. That the information is held on the edge of your space so that you could still hold clear space with yourself. Now, the common person is not going to understand this. They're going to be like, this is weird. I don't understand this. I never get overwhelmed. But an empath, we take on information in large amounts. But we have to govern and train our brain where to store that information. So when I want to tune into this person, I then choose to bring their information in. I read or interpret that information, and then I can put it back. So I have access to it, but it's not taking up my space. So I can work with lots of people. So I can work with high-level clients. I mean, you think about this. You might not be to this point yet. Maybe you're right here and you're starting to have this overwhelming feeling and you're like, how come I'm getting overwhelmed with just a few people? This is weird. It's because you don't have any governing principles of how to manage your personal space. Now, if this is over the top of your head and you're going, whoa, this is weird. I don't know you could do that. It's okay. You're going to want to know this sooner or later. So I wanted to bring this up because this is the sad part about empaths is that they can be so successful. They just don't manage their space. And it's hard to be clear about what to do with your business when you have everybody else's information all stacked on top of you. When it's all on top of you, you can't think straight. And you feel scattered, you feel confused, and you're like, wait a second, I wasn't like this before. But it's because you didn't train your brain where to store the information. And so you decide where it goes. I like having an open and clear space. I like keeping as much of my energy as possible because then I can choose where to portion it when I want to. Not that it just automatically is given to them or I'm going to feel drained. That's not fair. It's not fair at all. So I think this is cool. And this is one of the higher level principles about being an empath is governing the information and managing the information that's coming in. It's kind of like you go to the mailbox, right? You go to the mailbox and then you have a big stack of mail. And you got this big stack of mail and you got to sort through it. So you got the advertisements, you got those one letters that look like they're important, but they're not really. And then you got the real mail and then you got the personal mail and then you got your packages. So you get the stack of mail, but you're sorting it. So it's not just in a big pile anymore. And so you do the same thing with your personal space so that your gift is always ready to go and you don't feel messy. I'm serious, you don't feel messy. And so you can do a good job because if you feel messy, guess what happens? Guess what happens? If you feel messy, then your home office gets messy. Your bedroom gets messy. You start to stack things up. Empaths have a tendency to stack stuff up and get a messy office, a messy bedroom, a messy bathroom, a messy closet, a messy garage, and they don't know why they're messy. But the reason why they're messy is because inside, it's a mess. Inside, it's a mess. They've got all this other people's information, and they got all this stuff going on, and they're depleted, and they're tired, they're overwhelmed, and they're messy. And when you're messy inside, your outside is going to mirror that. And so your kitchen gets messy, your bedroom, your bathroom, your closet, your stacks on the counter, and you can't ever catch up. And the reason why you can't catch up around you is because on the inside, it's a mess. It's a mess. And so I like to help people know about this so that they can have a chance. They can have a chance because if this all comes in and it stays in there, you got yourself an internal mess, which creates an external mess. I had an entrepreneurial empath that I was working with, and I said, take a picture of your office and send to me. Oh, the look on their face was just shock. They were just in shock. And so they sent me the picture because I was coaching them, right? And they sent me the picture and they were just mortified. They were mortified, like, are you serious, Kirk? I can't believe you made me take a picture. And their office was a mess. It was a disaster. And I said, okay, you got this picture, right? And they're like, yeah. And I said, just so you know, your exterior of you is a mirror image of how you are on the inside. And it took them a bit. They're like, what do you mean? I go, well, the only reason you're allowing this mess on the outside of you, on the outside of your skin, is because on the inside of your skin, you're allowing a mess. And they're like, what? And I go, so your office tells me how you are on the inside. And it took them a little bit, and then they started to cry. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't want them to cry, but they're crying. And they're like, I don't like messes. I go, me either. I don't like messes inside me either because it makes messes on the outside I can't handle. I know I can be more organized. And so I learned years ago, I got to get inside and get myself in order. Go inside and have some rules about how things work so I don't get taken advantage of, so I don't get dumped on, so I don't get manipulated by people. I need to go inside and I need to create some order, some structure. And as soon as I started to do a little bit on the inside, around me, when I started to clean things and put things in order, they started to hold their space. And things started to stay more in order because I was in order on the inside. Now, if you're messy, it doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you messy. Doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're dealing with a struggle you don't have to have. And if you feel messy on the inside, it's difficult to think that you could go help somebody else. Because how can you help somebody else when you struggle even helping yourself? So I get this. I'm very aware of this and how this works and why this happens and what you got to do to be able to sort things out on the inside. Because as soon as you start sorting things on the inside, boom, you're like super motivated, naturally motivated. Just like, I'm going, I'm doing this, I'm getting up. You just got this fire in your belly because you're more in order on the inside. So if you lack motivation, you lack the desire to serve people, it's because on the inside, you're a mess. You're not bad, it's just a mess. And I bet you don't know how to clean that up. That's why I suggest you hang around me. I'm going to help you with that. And I got lots of different ways I can help you. Lots of different ways. But right now it's awareness, right? You got to be aware of this, of what's going on. And so as you look at this as an empath, the potential, let me just go back to this screen right here. The potential is crazy cool. What can happen of what you have with your skills. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I will tell you to the day I die, if you have empath skills, get on the trail, get on the path to become a life coach, a mentor, a keynote speaker, a presenter, a YouTube channel, a blog, write a book, go help your neighbor, help your kids, just get in the mode of helping people solve problems, because that's how you're built. You are wired and built to help people solve problems. And in doing so, it's going to help you solve your problems too. And that's the beautiful part about this, is you have a natural, you see those words? Let me just underline them. Natural gift. Some people have to work super hard at this to be able to make this work, but here you're sitting here with this natural ability. I just had to underline all three of those. Just this natural side to who you are. Now, this is what you do. You help people get unstuck, get through the wall. of life and so that they can move forward. And I don't know if you know this or not, but seriously, there's a lot of people on this side of the mental blocks that they have. There's a lot of people who need help. It's not just a little bit. There's a majority of people who are stuck, they can't move forward, and they're up against something. There's a small percentage of people who can do it really on their own. A very small percentage of people who can do it on their own. It seems like there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers, but most do-it-yourselfers are stuck. They act like they're making it, but they need somebody to talk to. And the best person for them to talk to is an empath, because they're natural and excellent at human psychology. Natural with this. Because the empaths are trying to do this. Well, you know, the people who are trying, the do-it-yourselfers are trying to do it like this. Well, they're all over the place. But if they had the chance to talk to an empath, which you are, I bet you are, because you're still here listening to me. I bet you that if they had a chance to talk to you, you could help them get organized. And I know you're thinking, but Kirk, I'm not organized. It doesn't take much to get you organized so that you're ready to help them. To help them go from this to this, from this to this. That's what people want. People are willing to pay for this. They want help. They'll pay for it. They'll pay you. They really will. And see, that's the crazy part. People are willing to pay for this kind of advice, this kind of help, this kind of direction. And here you are. You have this natural gift that people are like, yeah, I'll pay you. I'll compensate you for your time, your knowledge, your wisdom. I want to learn from you as an empath because you can solve problems. You really do have a job security, financial security, if you were to activate your gift and be willing to serve people. But if you've never thought about actually owning a business, it could be a little nerve-wracking and a little bit like, what? I don't know how to do that. Well, I could help you with that. I know how to start a business, and you could have an in-home business. You could. You could get on your computer and coach people anywhere in the world. You really could. But we got to get you organized first, because you most likely have some messes inside of you with anger and hurt and those kind of things. And we probably need to work on your money issues. Do you have a money issue? Usually empaths do. I'm not saying you do, but usually empaths have an issue with money because they don't know how to balance their experience between people and money. And so most empaths do things for free, which is good. It's just that they're broke. Empaths that are entrepreneurs generally are broke because they want to do everything for free. And it's because in their head, they're missing a couple principles about money. But I could help you with that. Because as an empath, what's important is that you are serving people. And as you serve people, people thank you. This is their thank you notes. They thank you by saying, hey, I want to pay you for this. This is valuable to me. And so they use these thank you notes to pay you. But see, empaths need help sorting that out inside their head. So if you're an empath and you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling with money, you are capable of straightening this out. So you're not stuck with this. I could help you with that. The last 16 years of being an entrepreneur and being an empath has taught me a lot the last 16 years. And it's my work and literally my mission to help you as an empath to be able to rise up, literally rise up to what you're capable of, and so that you can do the work that you can. The world is in trouble. It's in trouble. The people on this planet are in trouble because they're so out of tune. They can't perceive what's coming. They don't know what to do next. They're overly stressed. They're having arguments. They're fighting in their families. There's a lot of messy relationships going on, and it's not going to smooth out. And so we're on the brink of a lot of divorces. We're on the brink of a lot of breakups. We're on the brink of businesses failing. We're on the brink of parents scarring their children. We're on the brink of people giving up, choosing suicide. And we as empaths got to step up. We've got to step up and do our part. And that means we need to get our head straight. We need to get our gift up to the surface and put ourselves out there and say, hey, I can help. That's what needs to happen, is we need to realize that we are the ones to help and not keep waiting for somebody else to get in and do something. So every empath I meet, I encourage them, learn how to coach people so you can teach them what to do, and step up. Get to the front lines. Get out here, help people. Because if we don't step up, what are you going to do? Wait for somebody else to get out there to help? There's not enough empowered empaths doing their work. There's too many empaths hiding. They're hiding because they don't know what to do, and they're a mess, and they feel low on confidence, and they just don't know what to do. And it's like, oh my goodness, let's do this. So that's why I do this today. I do this video, and I do my webinars, and I teach my classes, and I train empaths how to do this. So we can help the people, because we got to help them as soon as possible before it gets worse and worse. I mean, suicides are already on the rise. And we're not suicide prevention people. What we are, though, is we are people who help solve problems. We're naturally gifted at this. Naturally gifted. But we got to stop wallowing in our misery and go, wow, I think I am an empath. I should get training on this. I should really step up. So I'm calling you to step up and to quit hiding this gift, and wherever you're stuck, get help. Start reading, start looking things up. I mean, if you want direct help, like Kirk, I just want to do this. If you want direct help, then you got to jump into my mastermind. This is where I directly train on these skills, and it's for literally 4.5 month program. It's huge. It's powerful. It's very full. It's very rich. It's very, very moving, and it's very challenging. But this is where I'm training people to become very high level gifted people in coaching and training people. I've been doing this for 16 years. I've had incredible, massive success doing it. And I got to make sure that there's a lot more empaths doing the same thing. I would love to train you on how to do this and to be able to really thrive in this area. But first and foremost, we got to step up. If you don't see it, if you're watching the news and you're watching stuff going on and you're going, oh, that's terrible. Somebody should do something about that. Somebody? What? Come on, man. Step it up. You got to get up. You got to wake up. You got to step forward, right? Because I can feel the pressure on the front lines. And I can look around and go, man, we got gaps. We need more people. We need more people who know what they're doing. So today, I get to talk to you and say you're one of those people. And you know it. You know it. And you don't get to hide behind, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm not very organized. I can't figure this out. All of that can be solved. Every one of those things can be solved. You just don't know what to do. That's why you need training. You have a gift. You've been wondering what to do. And then I show up. And I'm having this conversation with you right now. You are meant to be on the front lines with me and everybody else who's on the front line, shoulder to shoulder, helping people solve their problems in their marriage, in their family, in their business. And you're a natural at this. You just need to wake up that gift, that empath gift inside of you. And so your empath abilities can help people. They're going to help improve lives. It's going to help balance lives. So this is the thing. Use your empath ability to become a life coach or something like it so you can change lives and make a lasting difference as soon as possible. I don't know. I know you feel the weirdness going on in the air about this planet and what's going on with the human race and humanity. It's just getting weird really fast. And so as you choose to step up and you're looking for training, you got to check this out. Go here, check this out. If you want to know more about my mastermind, go to 3ke.2/book a call. And that will give you a chance to talk to one of my cool team members, and they'll tell you all about it. And then you can make a decision if you want me to be your trainer, if you want me to be your life coach, because I'm going to help you build a business. I'm going to help you become successful. I'm going to help you. I'm a high school graduate with an extremely successful business that's generated over $20 million in sales. And if I can figure this out, you can figure this out too. I can show you how to do this and how to create a very successful experience coaching, mentoring, helping other people solve problems, and for you to have job security. With all the weird stuff going on in the world, there's going to be people with problems. And I am going to say people are willing to exchange with you to get what you know and what you understand. And so if you would like to know more about my mastermind, it's very, very, very simple, very low key. You go to this place, book a call, 3ke.2/book a call. And what will happen, and also down below in the description below, there's a link you can click on, which is exactly the same thing. And really, you can talk to one of my cool team members and they will tell you about the mastermind, how it works. And then you can ask all your questions, and then you can make a decision if you want this kind of cool training to help you step it up. And if you're still like, whoa, I want to know more before I make that appointment to have that call with one of your people, Kirk. Okay, so if you want to do that, go to this link, 3ke.2mastermind. And there you can read more. You can watch some testimonials, watch a video from me, and it'll explain it. We're very transparent about how this program works, and I am going to help you create a business. If you use those skills now or later, I think it's important for you to know how to be an entrepreneur. I'm hearing people losing jobs. I'm hearing businesses close down. And if you don't know how to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be left out on the edge in the dark and not have an income. You're going to want to be self-sufficient and be able to have your own ability to create your own income. And this would be the perfect place for you to do this. So if you want to learn more about this, go to that link, 3ke.2/mastermind, and that's in the description below too. But if you're like, I got to take steps, Kirk, I want to do this, go here. You will be trained on how to organize and run an entrepreneurship business and how to be a fantastic life coach as an empath. That's what I do. I'm going to teach you what I do. And I'm going to give you all the ins and outs of how to do this. And mainly, I'm going to help you clean up your past, help you get your personal space organized and get your head straight so that your gift can really excel at the highest level possible. Okay, I got to go. Super cool to be with you. Your action step, I got to give you an action step. Your action step from this point on is to really look for opportunities to help people today. Target somebody and intentionally help them. You want to know what they're struggling with and help them with that, even if it's a little tiny bit of advice. Activate that empath side of you in the benefit for others. The gift works best when you use it with others, because you could sit there and go, I don't know anything. But if you start to help somebody, you get inspired of what to do to help that person. But you have to take action before the inspiration shows up. I know you already know that, but I just want to just make that clear. Inspiration follows action. Because I see people who go, well, I want inspiration first before I take action. It's like, you are so backwards. It's like, no, you take action. Then the inspiration comes together for you to help that person activate this. Activate this. And seriously, again, if you want direct training and you're ready to get going, go ahead and just click that link down in the description or type this in your little spot on your computer and it'll take you to the page and you can choose a date, talk to one of my team members. You'll be talking to Cody or Wayne. They're awesome. They've been on my team for a long time. It's very low key. They'll answer your questions, tell you all about it, and then you can make a decision from that point on. Again, the program is 4.5 months long. It's plenty of time to get good at this. So step it up. Step it up. Somebody else is not going to do it. You and I get to step it up and not hide. Stop your hiding. Get activated, get up, get out here, and start helping people. You know it's you, right? Okay, awesome. Super cool to be with you. Super cool to be with you here this morning. Man, I got to do this more often. Just stop by and say hi, right? All right, cool. All right. I know I'm not over for breakfast. I'm not at your house having breakfast with you right now, but I'm going to say this, and I don't know how you're going to take it, but I do care about you, and I do love you. I know you're thinking, no, you don't. You don't even know who I am. And some people have a fit with that, but I can care about you because we're in the same human family dealing with the same things. And we got to pull together, right? Help each other. If we don't, we're going to get whooped. We're going to get whooped. I'm not into getting whooped. I'm not going to get whooped. So let's pull together. It'd be cool, right? Empaths unite, right? Your empath gift is not a woo-woo thing. It's a highly advanced gift. Honor it. It's beautiful. Cool. Go book a call. Would love to work with you. All right, see you.